Hello everybody, Heather here. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the medications that I've had for my rheumatoid arthritis. And forgive me if I wince today, I've got really bad earache. It comes from my upper tract infections and it's a really cold day here in Aberdeen. When I was first diagnosed, I was put on sulfasalazine. And I managed to stay on that, I would say, for over 15 years. I did have some flare-ups, but on the whole, sulfasalazine worked for me. And I should say right from the word go, I'm only going to talk about the medications that I've been on. You know, some of these medications work brilliantly for other people. The one thing it has taught me about rheumatoid arthritis is never be scared to try the drugs. And if you do have a problem, make sure that you speak to your roomie team. Because, I've seen and I've met so many people that have been having issues with the medication that they've been on, and they never contact their rheumatology team. That's what they're there for, and they will act if the medication's not working for you. So I started off with sulfasalazine, and then October, November 2018, I was made redundant, and I decided at that point I would leave the city that I was living in at that time and return back to Aberdeen. And it would give me an opportunity that my plan was that I would care for my mum, who was getting on in years and was beginning to fail, and I would look for a part-time job. But the stress of the actual move, the stress of coping with the redundancy, and the stress of, moving back here, not having a GP, not having a rheumatoid arthritis team that could look after me, my body went into major flare-up. I've never seen anything like it. And I spent, I think, the 2nd of January in accident and emergency trying to get some relief. I'm only glad that this didn't happen during COVID, otherwise I would really have been stuck. So by the time that I actually got a GP, the only thing that they could do for me was give me oral steroids, I can never say this word, prednisone. And you get the added effects that goes along with the steroids. But when I did finally get to see the rheumatologist, they decided to put me on methotrexate tablets, and that was from February 2019. And at that time I was given folic acid tablets. And very quickly, one of the side effects was the nausea and sickness. So I spoke to my GP, and my GP gave me anti-sickness tablets. Now, I should say I have met lots of people that have been on methotrexate and are constantly telling me that the nausea, in fact, I even met a nurse who told me that she has a couple of days a month that she can't go to work because of the nausea and sickness. And I said, why on earth are you not talking to your rheumatology team or your GP and asking for anti-sickness tablets? So if that is you, please go and speak to your GP and make sure that you get anti-sickness tablets to help you use your methotrexate. However, I developed other side effects with the methotrexate, and if I ever figure out how to put a photograph on this video, I will add it to the photograph. But basically, I came out in hives all over my face, and I looked an absolute fright. Then I was put on methotrexate injections, and they didn't quite have all the side effects that I had with taking the tablets. I know that some people have hair loss or their hair going thin with methotrexate. That wasn't me, but I have to say that the drugs have had an adverse effect on my hair and my skin. It got to the stage where it was really bad, and then I saw my rheumatologist at the end of December in 2019, and she then put me on Amgevita. Now I had to come off of everything apart from the oral steroids for about 6 weeks before I got on to the Amgevita. And then unfortunately that didn't work for me. I took really bad eye infections, one after the other. I had a huge, great big blob that appeared on my eye, so that was no use. Following that, I then went on to Benepali in May 2020, and unfortunately that didn't work for me either, and I needed to have steroid injections and back on the oral steroids. Then I moved in August 20 and I went on to toxilizumab. I can never say these things. Why do they always make them so difficult? Tocilizumab. Tocilizumab. Well, that didn't work for me, and my joints became really painful. I was absolutely exhausted. I could hardly walk. So that was a no-no. And then in December 20, I was then put on baricitinib. Now, the baricitinib started working and it was great. Everything was fine until I had my first COVID vaccine in February, and then February 21, and it stopped working. My baricitinib, it just gave up on me. It wouldn't work. So it obviously, for me, it reacted with the COVID vaccine. But I know it's not the case for everybody. I'm just one of those lucky people. So following that, in April 21, I then went on to tofacitinib plus methotrexate injections. I very quickly was taken off the methotrexate because my liver count went sky high. I was on getting blood tests every week and I couldn't function. My feet and ankles were so swollen. I woke up one morning and I couldn't even walk. So at that point, in August 21, I heard about a new drug that had recently been licensed in my area, and at that point there was only 6 people on it, and that was upadacitinib, otherwise known as Rinvoq, and that is the drug that I am on now. As far as it has helped me, I still have mobility issues, but my joints are an awful lot better. As I have said, I get an awful lot of upper tract infections, and it's almost like a neuralgia pain, and I get really, really tired. In addition to those drugs, I also take on a daily basis Arcoxia anti-inflammatory tablets. I take 1 tablet a day, and I have been on vitamin D, I think for the last 6 years that I have a daily vitamin D tablet, and it was recommended by the consultant that I saw when I was back in Glasgow. I've also regularly had Kenalog injections, which is the steroid-based Kenalog injections, but unfortunately they don't seem to work very well for me, and I'm much better if I physically get a steroid injection right into the joint that's causing me problems. It's pain for about 10 seconds. And it is really painful, but it is well worth it. The actual fact that you get some relief from the swelling. And the other thing that I've also been on intermittently, I will say, when I do have a flare up, is the prednisone, the oral steroids. Now, as I've said before, and I said it in this video, if you're on any of these drugs, you might not have the same complaints as me about these drugs. And I will say that an awful lot of people worry about the drugs. They worry about the warnings and the side effects, but not everybody has those warnings and side effects. My drugs that I'm currently on have a black box warning that they might cause cancer, but for me, they are the best thing that's ever happened to me is being on that drug, and I've been on it now for a year. Everybody's different in how they're going to react, but if your drug is not working, you need to tell your rheumatological team. You need to make sure that they are aware that the drug is not working for you, and you need to make sure that you're listened to. If the one thing I would say is you have to fight all the way to make sure that your voice is heard, and if I can go some way to helping people to make sure that their voices are heard, I will do it. So if the drug you're on is on my list and it is working for you, I think that's wonderful. I really do. And it will work for some people. But I know for me that is something like 10 drugs in 3 years that I've been on. And this is the one that has been my light and has helped me. The good thing about rheumatoid arthritis is that there's still a lot of research going on and there's still new drugs coming out. I was getting kind of worried that there would be no more drugs for me to try apart from going to infusions. But I have been told that if this drug doesn't work for me, that there is another drug for me to try before we get to that stage. So there are new drugs coming all the time. Okay, that's it for now. Hope you found this useful. And remember, if you're one of these people that I'm talking about that's having side effects, or you're feeling nauseous or something, or the drug's not working, speak to your GP, speak to your rheumatology consultant. Bye for now. Bye.